Tomorrow I will be happy. That's the deal most of us make with ourselves. A quiet promise, renewed every morning. Tomorrow I'll have it together. Tomorrow I'll feel at peace. Tomorrow the work will be done and I can finally rest. But tomorrow never arrives as peace. It arrives as another tomorrow. We are living in a permanent interval between the life we have and the life we imagine, between who we are and who we think we should be, between the task at hand and the relief we're promised when it's finished. Krishnamurti, one of the most radical and uncompromising philosophical minds of the 20th century, had a name for this interval. He called it psychological time, and he believed it was the root of all human suffering. This is not a video about time management. It is not about productivity or being more present in the Instagram sense of the word. This is about something far more unsettling. The possibility that the mind you are using right now to seek peace is the very thing preventing it. Krishnamurti makes a distinction that most of us have never considered. He separates chronological time, the time on your watch, the rotation of the earth, the beating of your heart, from something he calls psychological time. Psychological time is the interval between idea and action. The interval between idea and action. When you have an idea of what you should be, more successful, more calm, more productive, more loved, and then you look at who you actually are right now, there is a gap. That gap is psychological time. And in that gap lives everything we call anxiety, comparison, shame, the restless sense that you are perpetually behind. Krishnamurti writes, "Do you know what time is? Not by the watch, not chronological time, but psychological time. It is the interval between idea and action." And here is where it becomes radical. He says that interval is thought. The whole field of psychological time is essentially thought. The image you have of yourself achieving, the projection of a future where everything is resolved, the continuity of desire sustained by further desire. So when you think, tomorrow I will be happy, you are not making a plan. You are creating time. You are widening the interval between yourself and your life. And the wider that interval grows, the more thought fills it, the more anxiety fills it, the more sorrow fills it. Krishnamurti makes a statement that sounds almost too simple when you first encounter it. Time is sorrow. Not time causes sorrow. Not time is related to sorrow. Time is sorrow. The two are the same movement. Here is how he arrives at it. When someone you loved is gone, a person, a version of yourself, a chapter of your life, the grief is not in the event. The event is over. The grief is in the thought that returns to it, the memory that replays, the mind going over and over the same ground, wishing, hoping, regretting. Krishnamurti calls this the continuity of time. Thought keeps the past alive. And in keeping the past alive, it breeds sorrow. So long as there is this interval of time bred by thought, there must be sorrow, there must be the continuity of fear. Take a moment with that. The continuity of fear is not a character flaw. It is not weakness. It is the natural consequence of a mind that lives in time. A mind that has a yesterday it replays, and a tomorrow it reaches toward, and almost never a now it actually inhabits. So one asks, can this interval come to an end? And here Krishnamurti does something unexpected. He says, if you ask, will it ever end? Then it is already an idea, something you want to achieve, and therefore you have an interval, and you are caught again. The trap is in the asking. The mind that seeks freedom from time creates more time in the seeking. Krishnamurti turns to a subject most philosophy sidesteps: death. He writes, "Take the question of death, which is an immense problem to most people. You know death. There it is walking every day by your side. Is it possible to meet it so completely that you do not make a problem of it at all? Most of us cannot, because we meet death the way we meet everything, with psychological time between us and it, with belief, hope, fear, theory. We put the buffer of thought between ourselves and the thing itself." He says, "Time is the interval between the observer and the observed. You are afraid to meet death, so you don't meet death. You meet your ideas about death, your beliefs about what it means, your theories about what comes after. And between you and the actual fact is a universe of thought. This is true of death, but it is equally true of Tuesday afternoon. The difficult email you haven't replied to, the conversation you're dreading, the version of yourself you haven't become yet. You are not meeting these things. You are meeting your ideas about them. And in the gap between you and the thing itself, in that interval, the problem is born and sustained and grows." Krishnamurti is precise about this. Problems exist only in time. That is, when we meet an issue incompletely, this incomplete coming together with the issue creates the problem. Problems exist only in time. The problem is not the difficult email. The problem is the interval of thought between you and the difficult email, the story you've built around it, the image of how it might go wrong, the avoidance that thought makes possible. This is Krishnamurti at his most radical. He is not saying, think better thoughts. He is not saying, be more mindful. He is saying, the mechanism of thought itself, the very tool you are planning to use to solve your problems, is what creates them. So what do we do with this? And again, Krishnamurti would note that what do we do is already a question from within psychological time. It assumes an interval, a gap between now and some improved future state. But let's be honest, we are here, in time, with a life to live and people who depend on us. So what does this understanding actually offer us? Not a technique, not a method, something quieter than that. Krishnamurti is pointing at what happens when you meet something completely, not with half your attention and half a plan, not with one eye on the thing and one eye on how you'll feel once it's resolved. Completely, the way a child looks at something new, without the weight of yesterday's interpretation or tomorrow's expectation. He writes that action is always immediate. It is not of the past or the future. To act must always be to be in the present. But we are so afraid of action because action without thought feels dangerous, unprotected. So we conform to ideas, we approximate, we plan and revise and hedge. And in that hedging, we lose the only moment we ever actually had. The next time you feel the weight of an unresolved problem, stop. Not to solve it, just to notice the interval, the gap between the fact and the story you've built around it. The difficult email is a fact, the narrative that you are failing, that you are falling behind. That is the noise. That is psychological time. You cannot abolish thought, but you can notice when thought is manufacturing a problem that the present moment doesn't actually contain. Krishnamurti ends with this. So thought creates that psychological interval which is time, and then, tomorrow I shall be happy, tomorrow I shall have success, tomorrow the world will be a beautiful place. Tomorrow, always tomorrow. But the world is happening right now. It is not waiting for your arrival. Stop drifting toward a life you're always about to begin. This is neon silence. If this reached you, stay a while. Take what works, leave the rest, join the silence.